Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. I'm, of course, Nick McDaniel, and as always, I'm joined by my mighty Byron.
Hey. I might be the happiest wrestling fan on earth right now. How about you, Nick?
Yeah, probably not the happiest. I mean, it's Sunday. I mean,
Well, I mean, I'm not talking about that. I mean, I'm sitting on a heating pad. My back hurts. I'm trying to figure out what I want for dinner. There's all kind of worries going on, but I'm not concentrating on that. I'm concentrating on the wonderful 3 days of wrestling, or actually since SummerSlam was last night as well as wrestling. And I watched it today. So technically I've had 3 wonderful days of wrestling so far.
Yeah.
And that's kind of canceled out a lot of my worries because I've just let it all slide.
Look, 2 really, really outstanding indie shows that we got to watch this weekend in person. Southern Honor in Canton, Southern Fried in Monroe. And we'll discuss both of those later into the show because there's a lot of big national stuff, obviously, with SummerSlam going down and all that stuff. Look, and it's, as always, a couple hot takes on, WWE and AEW. So it ain't all positive today, and I hate to be that guy. There's a couple things I always want to. I have a couple really good questions that I had came up with too, Myron. I think they're going to be a challenge for you to answer.
Boy.
So make sure you guys are tappedoutpod@gmail.com. Make sure you got the email because you're going to probably have some things to send in to me. Tappedoutpod is all of the social media platforms go. Everybody knows that. But while we're talking about social media and things like that, emails, all that, don't forget us over on YouTube. Look, most of you guys are watching on YouTube. If you are watching us there, make sure you just go ahead and like the page, follow the page, subscribe to the page, turn your notifications on, all that good stuff. And hell, you can even become a member over behind the paywall there on YouTube and on Patreon at patreon.com, of course. Become a paying member and get a lot of extra bonus stuff. You do get the show early. And Myron, man, look, it's picked up and we've gotten, look, I actually, believe it or not, had to tell, we've got somebody kicking out those articles. And he was doing them every day. And I literally was like, dude, you're going to have to slow it down. And we're going to go to like every other day. But it's, and like literally to the point, like right now, I have scheduled articles through the 20th of this month. That's how far. And I was like, dude, you got to slow down.
That's a reliable news source. That's like ESPN, Nick.
Listen, I totally dig it. If you're look, it's not just wrestling. That's the crazy thing I tell people. It's not just wrestling. It's video games. It's movies. It's sports. I will tease one. There's a great football one, on the top 10 list coming, and it's like literally. My crazy thing is, it's like in a week and a half away. But I was like, man, it's crazy to think that But again, you're getting that behind the paywall over on our Patreon.com, Tapped Out Pod, or on the YouTube channel. The handle on YouTube is Tapped Out Pod, and you become a paying member and get all that stuff behind. I've shared a few things on Facebook and stuff like that, to try to get people to see like, hey, this is kind of some of the samples. I was like, dude, you might get me in the mood. I might start writing a couple things here and there.
That would be awesome.
Putting them off, just to see what happens.
I'm trying to experiment with a writing career, so don't get me started. Don't get me started. I don't know what I'll call myself. I can't be Dusty Finish. No, I don't know what to call myself. But before we start, I want to show people something. Me and Nick both got these yesterday. Tell people what this is.
Back it up and go to the side. It's a little glare on your. Go to your left.
Jesus, I do have some glare. My left.
Yeah. Your other left. Oh God. I'm just trying to get. There you go. That's a lot. Quite not as much glare there. You're probably just too close. It's probably just hitting too much glare. It's not going to get any better. There you go. That's a much better look. You can't see it up as close. If you can't see that, you look. Big shout outs to our buddy Mason.
Yes.
Look, all right, full of the credit. Mason's dad made it, but it's for Mason. Look, I always say, look, we love the kid as much as he's a fan of ours, I believe. Flip it over. Can you show him the back too? It's modeled after the old WCW cards from back in the day. The other side, go to the other shoulder, your other side. Yeah. Well, never mind.
I don't take direction.
By the way, I'll get a shot of it and I'll put it up on social media. I'll take a picture of mine and put it up on social media so you can see it really up close. But Alex, we appreciate it. Cool. We got our own trading cards, custom. There's only 3.
Awesome.
There's only 3 out there. You have one, I have one, and Mason has one.
I'm
And
not selling
Mason's,
mine.
I'm not selling them either. Mason's got the expensive rookie card. He's got autographed. He's got autographed.
Autograph.
By the way, if you haven't, like, wow, if you see them at a show, ask them to see some of the cards. They're some of the coolest things ever.
Yes.
Just the coolest things ever of the ones that we've seen. So, but we did want to take a minute and say thank you. It was super cool. We really got a kick out of that. That was awesome.
And if you're at an indie show and you see Xander Seabolt, get him to sell you one of these awesome Grapplers t-shirts, dude. I am so happy about that also. Yeah. Oh, God. I'm so stoked about wrestling. So let's talk about SummerSlam, Nick.
Let me talk to you.
What?
Yeah.
Well, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about SummerSlam, man. Look, it was obviously, we went to Monroe, so we did not get to catch SummerSlam live. I want to ask you this. We went to an indie show, watched an entire indie show, drove home. I got home, locked up everything, make sure I just double check everything. I'm one of those dads. Make sure the alarm's set, make that everything's locked, blah, 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 blah. Turn on make sure the cameras are on and all that good stuff. I get into bed and I'm like, tell my wife, like, hey, I'm going to watch some of SummerSlam. So I pull the cock out and I start watching it on TV, Peacock. And I start watching it. The damn thing's not over yet. The main event was just starting. Okay, by the way, that is my biggest gripe with Peacock.
That's my only gripe with Peacock.
It really is. Like, I should be able to just jump in and go back and watch it from the beginning.
Well, you can't. That's what I love about YouTube TV for the regular show. They ask me when I start, like Raw or SmackDown, do you want to go back to the start of the show or do you want to watch it where it's at? And that is so easy. So 1 o'clock, I'm looking at it. It's like, okay, it's over. Let me watch. No, the press conference is going on.
Yeah.
And I can't start. So what? I just rolled the F over and said, I'll watch it today.
Yeah. I did catch the main last night. Like, I watched the main before I went to sleep. I was like, I'll go ahead and watch this, and then I'll watch the rest of it in the morning.
Well, I was given a sack of chicken. Was exactly what happened. I came home. My stepson, he's a bartender, and he works where they've got this really amazing chef. And he told me he was bringing home chicken from her, and I should, save up. I came home and I found a to-go bag, just shoved full of chicken, no container, just a sack of chicken sitting in the refrigerator. And you know what? I ate it as is. And that was delicious. And I'd do it again.
But you couldn't stay up and watch.
I sat there the whole time waiting on it. It would have been, I would have not been able to start it to 2 or 3 o'clock, and it was a 4-hour pay-per-view, Nick.
Yeah, that's true. I meant when you got home. Anyway, when you got home, you could have. Anyway. I watched the main. It was good. Look, it was a long pay-per-view, which I'm going to address that in a minute. Fuck it. Let's do it now.
I didn't mind.
No. I'm not saying I minded. When you start, I've wondered this in general. Remember now, they bumped Becky and Trish off of this card.
Yes.
Would they? Here's question number 1 for everybody involved. tappedoutpod@gmail.com. Would there be pushback? SummerSlam is already called the WrestleMania of the summer. What if SummerSlam was 2 nights?
It's eventually going to have to go to that if they continue to do this. Okay, they'll have to do surveys. WWE will look at the financial, like the financial impact of the local area. It'll look about how much money they can make for advertising, selling tickets. They know these things. They've been calculating these things. I bet they've got predictions on Backlash going to 2 nights somewhere. They can tell you every dollar down.
I don't think so much those, but
no, but they've ran the models. I guarantee they've ran the financial models, and they're ready. I guarantee they'll be ready to run SummerSlam on 2 nights.
My only thing is, and I'll get into about how hot the company is and I think that ties in potentially. Because then if it slows down at all, and then does it hurt your image if you cut it back to one night again? There's lots of things to factor into there, but I could have used a 2-night, 3-hour both nights.
Yes.
SummerSlam, or 2.5 hours, 3 hours, whatever, SummerSlam. I could have used that, because then you could have had a couple of the matches you could have went longer with if you chose to. I'm not saying I would have on any of them. But you could have had Trish and Becky on there. There's other, like Austin Theory couldn't have defended the U.S. title on there. Look, are we bummed out? There's no, we know why there was no tag match, but you could have easily justified a tag team title match in most scenarios, most years. So you can get pretty quick to a 2-night event. So, I say all that to get to what I was getting to is it was a long ass card, not like painfully long. Because here's the other thing, somebody came back with me like, still not as long as some AEW pay-per-views, and I'm like, touche. I'll give you that one.
I think on the whole, you got some epic matches. You got some filler, but you got some epic matches. You got some good quality violence, for lack of a better way to put it.
I would push back on that a little bit.
Okay.
I don't know that there was any filler in there. Because if the only match you could have even remotely sold, well, maybe I got to go through the card again. The only match I would have said that you were like, oh, it's a little bit of a filler, would have been Baszler and Rousey. And if that was Rousey's last match, it had to be on a big stage like Mania or SummerSlam.
Yeah.
You couldn't have done it on something small. So even that's, I guess, not filler. Because look, we don't have time to go through, we got to get rolling here. We can't go through every match on the card, and that was kind of what I was trying to get to. Was there's just so much to go through.
Yes.
So we kind of were going to hit the high points, maybe a low point or two, but high points mainly of the show. And I'm going to start with the one that freaking started the show: Logan Paul versus Ricochet. I know I saw an article that said, literally overnight, they're like, well, it wasn't as viral as they claimed it was going to be, and I'm like, what? I'm like, the match is spectacular, in my opinion. By the way, my saying, Myron, I told you this and you kind of chuckled when I said this off air. That was one of the most AEW style matches I've seen in WWE in a long time. Thoroughly enjoyed it, mind you, so that's not a shot. But the style that it was that it was very, very, AEW style match.
Well,
right?
My favorite part of what you said was, you saw stuff that CM Punk couldn't do in that match.
Well, I did make the comment of, so my comment was, and it started with AEW fans who didn't like that match needed to stop watching WWE and hating on it, because that was a very much an AEW style match. The argument, though, is people that crap on Logan Paul. I did make the comment. Why? I don't know. I think it's just people that are aggravated that the guy's as physically gifted as some of the wrestlers who've been around for decades.
I think a lot of people just come in to crap on him because they hated what he does on social media. They don't like that kind of social media thing, or he's pissed somebody off with some kind of gimmick he did on social media. So they don't judge him as a wrestler. They judge him for that kind of stuff. I don't know. You couldn't tell me 5 minutes of what the guy did on social media. I'm old. I'm more along the lines of watching classic rock videos on social media. I got everything I needed out of this match. I'm hoping to just not to be a dick. I'm hoping Ricochet's personality transplant was complete, or at least a transfusion, maybe some kind of donation from Logan Paul. He desperately needed it.
He needs something, and I think this investment, because look, this will piss some people off. The investment they have in Logan Paul, to put that investment with Ricochet, shows a commitment to Ricochet, because there's a lot of money tied up in Logan Paul. I don't know that I'd have done it. And look, I love Ricochet as a wrestler. I think, especially like the Prince Puma thing from Lucha Underground, whatever his name was. I totally dug that stuff. Maybe he needs a mouthpiece. You know, he can just go in there and be like the great wrestler. I don't know.
I don't want to, but Logan Paul had such great wrestling dust. He could spray it. And fame dust and personality dust. He could sprinkle on him. And everything Logan Paul has done so far has helped everybody he's touched. When he comes to WWE, he helps everybody with buzz, match quality. Everything he does has helped the person he works with. I hope this does it for Ricochet. I think they believe in Ricochet. I think they think Ricochet is somebody they can market. I think they believe Ricochet is somebody that they could help target some of that AEW audience with. But I think they're kind of stuck because they're trying to make him into a sports entertainment personality, and that might not be what he's for. That may not be what he can do.
Time will tell, because like I said, I just think that was a great a risk for them to tie up that money when they could have possibly put Logan Paul with somebody else and maybe had more of an, by the way, kudos to the kid for basically, a lot of people, I saw some pushback about people saying like it wasn't fair that he got that, because, he pushed to go on first because he was trying to get to his brother's fight. That was the whole thing. Like, he was trying to get to his brother's fight afterwards. Like, literally, like, basically showed up in his ring gear. Like, over, like, it was like they hurry up and get there kind of thing. What's wrong with that? Yeah, I'm like, okay. I mean, how many times have we heard story? Like, people don't get it. Like, how many times I've heard, if you're not going on last, like, just put me on first.
It's not like Undertaker split in the middle of SummerSlam.
They knew what they were getting into. Look, I hate to be this guy, but yeah,
they make deals with people. That's the way it works with that kind of thing.
Yeah. Then of course, let's address. Like, we're gonna bounce around out of order here at the main event, because we know that's where most people want to start, right? Talk about the main event. That was the WWE style match.
It's almost an ECW style match with old Paul standing there.
No, I liked it, but when I say WWE, it's slow. It was
methodical.
They they didn't rush. They let the crowd react. They let things simmer. They blah blah blah. Listen, and let's go ahead now, hit the fast forward button and go to the end, because that's what everybody wants to discuss, right? Doesn't matter how really much I enjoyed the match. They just want to hear, like, look, Solo getting involved, but of course then eventually Jimmy getting involved. Why Jimmy? Why? That's what I have written on my sheet. Why Jimmy? Why? And you know what I said? We'll find out next Friday on SmackDown.
Yep. We're going to get Monday night. We're going to get 30 minutes worth of replays of that. Okay. We're going to get so many views of that turn with Jimmy and the chants. They'll have those edited out. But we're going to get so primed, and by Friday night, are we going anywhere next weekend for shows?
Saturday we might be at Viral. That's the question mark right now.
Okay, trying to get that scheduled out. But no show Friday night. So we'll be watching SmackDown.
Yeah.
And it's going to be insane. And we're going to set up another chapter of the Bloodline story. And I am super happy about it.
Listen, I don't know why people are completely surprised. I mean, recently in an interview, they were asked, and they was brought up, and it's like they wanted to feud with each other. I mean, like, think about it. I can arguably see their take is, we're going to be the twin brother tag team that's stuck together, but we want to do this thing against each other.
Yeah.
Like, we want a feud. And there's no better scenario to play out where these two can have a feud with each other than something like this. And arguably, by the way, when somebody asked, like, well, why would Jimmy do that? I was having a conversation with, a friend of the show this morning, and it was like, what if Jimmy just says, look, I understand. I made a mistake. He is the tribal chief. Like, did he just come to his senses? Like, he is the tribal chief. I was out of line. I'm not saying I like it, but that's a hell of a reason. You know what I mean? It is a reason.
You don't know what's going to happen, and you're going to tune in because you want to find out. And that's a success. That's a success.
People have shit on the finishes, it seems like, after every pay-per-view that has involved this story. And it has progressively gotten more in depth, more, they just keep it going. And I'm like, and look, if it's easy to say, oh, they should have had Cody win. But then you would have missed out on all of the Sammy stuff, then the Jimmy, then the Jay, and then now Jimmy's turn back. Like, there's so much. There's like, dude, like, it's like a, I don't know. How about wrestling is like a episodic television show that doesn't end? You have to keep the story going in some form or fashion.
And when it's really good, what happens to ratings?
They go up.
And when it's really good, what happens to profits?
I'm going to get into that in a minute because there's a whole segment that I want to discuss about this. Okay. So not quite yet. Other winners of the night, I think we both completely agree. Cody.
Yes.
Massively. And you guess what? And I'm speaking from experience, by the way. In my eyes, it elevated him.
Yes.
And that's just from my take. Take that for what that is. It doesn't mean much of anything. I'm fully aware. But I'm saying, when you have your podcast, you can say, I think, I've been pretty hard on Cody. I told you, I saw somewhere in an interview, he like basically mentioned something about people that don't like him wearing suits or whatever. And I was like, I don't have a problem him wearing the suit. I just think that that's a heel move. So if he was a heel, I'd be much more open to it than anything. That's out. But anyway, I think what it does for Cody is I think there was two major benefits for the feud with Brock, right? Because me and you were pretty back and forth about this before we started when we were talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
They had 3 matches with each other. If it was only your take was what?
But there were matches between that. It wasn't like 3 matches on 3 pay-per-views in a row.
Well, they put Dom in there.
So that
what was your excuse? What you said they had to do what for Cody? Why was
they
Brock
had to
there?
elevate Cody by beating the biggest badass the company did. They had to make him look better. Like I said, he was Stardust. There's a certain side of WWE fans who are not going to believe him. So you have to, if you're going to be a shining knight or a hero, you have to beat the dragon, and he was Cody's dragon. Thankfully, I didn't see the dragon's tail when his pants split open. I did see him sweat all over the mat and all over Cody. Brock is a scary, scary, bad man, and he was beating Cody viciously. And then Cody came back and won.
You said he was the obstacle that Cody had to overcome, kind of like he was one of the bosses to get to the end of the game. My take was you could have accomplished that in one pay-per-view and one match.
Yeah.
We didn't need 3. We liked 3, but we didn't need 3. You could have even done it in 2.
3 gave you more. 2's not an even.
Okay.
2's an even number. You can't do that.
My reasoning why you needed 3 wasn't the objective for Cody, except for the fact it tied Cody up for 5 months or whatever it was, 4 or 5 months. I think one thing that you have to be clear that they stated was now Cody can get back to his journey, like what his, and it's all about chasing the title. Okay, great. So he's chasing that title again. What it did was, it was a bad look if Cody chased that title for 14 months. And what I mean by that is the Royal Rumble, he loses at Mania, and then he chases for a whole other year back around and wrestles at Mania. We just chunked out about 5 months or so that Cody was preoccupied. And as I will go, you pointed out, it also allowed the Bloodline to continue without having to deal with Cody.
Yep.
Like they could still do their things without Cody being in the mix.
And Cody's still on Raw. Roman's still on SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to get to something to get him off that show and onto that show. So he may have to beat Seth first, or he might have to do something else. So there's no guarantee tomorrow night, he's going to walk right into there and say, I'm going to go to SmackDown and face. There's most likely going to be somebody else standing in his way before he gets to the Roman path.
Yeah, I agree. The other hot man on there is LA Knight.
Yes.
LA Knight wins the Battle Royal, obviously.
Yes.
I think that we could have seen that coming a mile away.
Yes.
Here's my hot take on LA Knight. What segue? WWE's quarterly reviews come out, their quarterly revenue reports and everything like that. Look, viewership is up. By the way, most TV stuff is down, so they're just like completely,
Most TV's not writing new episodes. Most TV has no television stars right now.
Well,
WWE is making...
the episodes that are airing were already recorded. What I'm saying is, like, if you look at year-over-year ratings, most TV products are down. Sports, live events, and news are like, that's the draw. WWE, wrestling's in that window. Okay, so if they're up, which they were, by the way, they announced they were up in TV viewership, which is kind of an abnormal thing right now. One thing, however, stood out on the entire report to me. The attendance is up massively.
Yes. Not at all events. The attendance is
all events.
Yeah, I know, but you were talking the attendance is up massively at what events?
No, just all events, like TV events, live events, everything across the board. Everything is up, and it's up significantly. And Eric Bischoff brings up a great point by this, saying you can build viewership out of people's viewing habits. Hey, we're just used to, every Friday we watch SmackDown. Hey, every Monday we're at home after school and work. We just watch Raw on Mondays, And then you attract a few new eyes, right? That's, so like, hey, you're up 9%. It was something like that. Don't quote me on this. I got them somewhere. But let's say you were up even 9%. You've picked up a few new viewers here, and then your usual fans are watching. But like attendance was up like 40%, something come crazy. Why is that really a measurable number that is more impressive than just TV ratings? It is, by the way. It's not a hard effort for Myron to turn his channel and watch on TV. However,
because I sit right here and watch TV at this chair, in this chair, at this desk.
But for Myron, and we're talking the average Myron, not just you, Myron.
Oh, I'm a really good Myron.
So
I'm above average Myron.
To talk you into getting out of your house, driving to an arena, paying for parking, paying for tickets for you and your family to go, paying for the food at the venue, that's a harder sell than getting you to flip the channel. So for attendance to be up, that means you're hot. That's a number that's
house shows. We're not on TV. Everything. You don't have any idea what's happening. I can go to like 10 indie shows for what it costs to go to one of those live wrestling shows, WWE shows.
It's what it feels like. It does. It really does. So here's the thing. That Eric Bischoff made a comment, and that led me to a question. He said when things get this hot, it's easier, and he used Goldberg, by the way, as the example. When NWO was mega hot and the product just in general was hot, Goldberg steps on the scene and heaves off. The momentum, he just shot through the moon. He's like, if Goldberg comes along 2 years earlier, it's a harder uphill battle.
Yes.
Okay, are you ready for your TikTok video?
Okay.
Here it goes. Is LA Knight really getting over? Or is he look, I'm a massive LA Knight fan, and everybody knows that. However, is he also benefiting from the wave of popularity that WWE is going through right now? Right time, right place. He gets out in front, and he's hitting on all cylinders while the product's heating up. So he's shooting up faster than he would have. It ain't his first time being with the company. It ain't like it's the first time he's ever been seen. He was at Impact. Look, because like we've said it, I've been a fan since Eli Drake and Impact, and he's damn near the same guy. Right?
And
LA Knight is essentially the guy. Same guy. But he's in the right place at the right time while product's hot. I think by the way, kudos, congratulations, because it makes me happy that he's getting it. But my question is, tappedoutpod@gmail.com, is he benefiting from the fact that there's such a wave of momentum for the company, right place, right time?
Well, everything grows better in a fertile field.
Thank you.
I mean, you can plant a healthy plant in dry dirt, and it's not going to grow.
Yeah.
I think that's a valid point. I know you worship the ground Eric Bischoff walks on, so, and you're generally right when you do quote him, because I mean, he knows more about business than the average person. And that's the thing I like about Bischoff too, is when he quotes something, it's usually not about anything he doesn't know about, and he stays in his wheelhouse and quotes the wrestling business type stuff.
Yeah.
I can see that happening. The thing is, whatever happens, I don't care. I love the Goldberg run at the time. Nowadays, I don't look at it as favorably. I'm enjoying the hell out of this Eli Knight run. That's Eli Knight, Eli Drake, LA Knight. You know me.
LA Drake.
I have wrestling dyslexia. It doesn't matter to me.
Drake.
Yes. All I know is I'm enjoying it. So I'm just thankful for it.
Well, man, look, that's a lot of stuff about the WWE, and I'm glad you're enjoying it, but there's something else that we're talking about down the road, Myron, that we're both going to enjoy.
Woo!
September 30th, our buddies down at Canacon are coming right on into Augusta, Georgia. Check out our friends over at Canacon. Hey, Augusta, have you heard the big news? September 30th, Canacon is coming right there to 90 Millage Road, right there in Augusta. That's right. That's the American Legion, Post 63, right down the road. 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., that's part of the big chunk of the festivities. Don't forget, however, at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., live concert will be by Radio Cult right there in the building as well. What's going on this year? Great stuff, including for the first time ever in Georgia. Do you remember the crazy movie back when we were kids, Maximum Overdrive? The Green Goblin head that was there, right there on the 18-wheeler, will be for the first time ever. It will be there. Yes, the original prop from the movie will be right there at Canacon. Also, look, Canacon is really famous for its cosplay championship, and for the first time ever, they're going to take it to a whole nother level. Not only will second and third place get trophies, first place will be crowned with the Canacon Cosplay Championship belt. That's right, championship belt for the for the big winner. But hey, look, don't worry about it. Look, the kids are also they're not going to be left out. They got a cosplay specifically for the kids, and they will have a champion as well. And for the first time ever, there will be a Fans Choice Award, like a Fans Choice Prize. So you, the fans, will actually determine one of the winners as well. Special guests are Radio Cult, Kelly Graham, Randall Bishop, Specs Thomas, and many, many more. All of that's going down right there at Canacon, September 30th, 90 Millage Road, Augusta, Georgia. That's right there at the American Legion. You definitely don't want to miss out. Canacon 2023 is coming to Augusta, Georgia. That's right, man. I'm jacked. I mean, you know me. I'm a big comic collector. Lots of cool stuff. I actually talked to a mutual friend of the show that he's kind of getting pumped up about this cosplay competition. So, yeah, I can't wait. Cosplay. Yeah, but that's a different story, Myron.
No. I used to go to wrestling shows dressed up like Bubba Ray Dudley.
Yeah, we're going to have to get you a OnlyFans page where you do your cosplay.
I think the last time I dressed up like that, I lost a match to a rather thick young lady in an elevator. She tapped me out with some kind of arm lock.
Exactly.
It was in Birmingham at the time.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I mean, yeah, it is Alabama, so totally understand.
Things have happened in my
Things happen. Well, look, man, let's get it. I want to talk about something that I think should not have happened this week. As we all were clearly aware of, last week I made the bold statement that I agreed with Bully Ray. They should not announce any matches for All In at Wembley. Just roll the matches out and the people get what they get. Because, and then, of course, by the way, then they completely come out this week and say, oh, yeah, it's going to be traditional pay-per-view. It's going to be, so you're going to have 2 weeks consecutively with pay-per-views. Here's the fucked up part, Myron.
What's that?
Bold move, by the way, and I like it. You know why?
What?
All In's your biggest show of the year, technically, I guess, for them. All In is a once-in-a-lifetime, first time ever in Wembley. They're going to sell out. I think both pay-per-views do well because of the novelty of it. And they're gonna toot their horns about it like crazy. That's what they should, by the way.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think they both go 225, 250, somewhere in that range, maybe more. pay-per-view buys for both shows. I still plead the case. I think, me personally, I would put it on TV somewhere. TBS, TNT. You brought up, apparently now Max has the capabilities now this week. They announced they can actually
stream live events now. That's something they just got. But you told me it's going on pay-per-view.
That's what they reported this week.
Old dial-up, ask the operator to turn it on, give your credit card number. Or press the button
in your cable box and say, I want this pay-per-view.
Jesus Christ. How old is
Grandma,
that?
make sure you go to the right one. When you're looking for All In, make sure you go to the right channel when it says AEW All In.
Yeah.
So make sure you get the right
pay-per-view. You don't buy the wrong All In. You don't buy the wrong All In.
Exactly.
It's gonna be a horrible time for you, Granny.
That'd be bad. Okay. Just saying. Anyway, point being, I feel like, they announced Adam Cole versus MJF in the love fest that was. By the way, again, let's all go back to last week. I did say it was one of my favorite things going on in the company. I love the Adam Cole MJF combination. The segment was flat. It just was. I wasn't the only one. I've asked around. Look, I get it. Everybody's things, I didn't think it wasn't the creative, what I'm calling flat. I felt the crowd's reaction was a little flat. Here's why. Do we really want to see these two wrestle? Like, they're best friends. You guys are my best friends.
Well, they haven't set it up. Are they wrestling just because they're friends, or is they wrestling just because let's challenge each other?
MJF told Adam Cole, look, after that tournament's over, win, lose, or draw, whether the tag team champions or not, I'll give you a shot at the title. He's not just giving him a shot at the title, not a spot, my spot, he's going to give him a spot at All In. The problem is with All Out being the next weekend, I'm asking the question simply, are we setting up, are we going for a three-way dance with Punk, Adam Cole, and MJF at All Out? I'm not disexcited, but here's why. Are we getting it because we think that's the way to go? Does Adam Cole beat MJF, and then the rematch is at All Out a week later, but they got to throw it in because they're tying in, the Punk's the world champion? Or, I don't know, CM Punk. I've questioned you, Byron, and I have pushed you back on a couple things about people like, look, we don't know this person. We don't know anything about him. Are we getting CM Punk in a match in a three-way to get that title off of him without him actually having to get beat?
Could be. We're in a unique situation. They've been doing all-in announcements, right?
Mm-hmm.
No all-out announcements.
Oh, they're coming.
What if they don't make any of those till at All In? Because you set the card for All Out at All In. I don't know. I don't think you said they do about the same amount of buys. I don't think All Out. I think they'll do about half the amount of buys on All Out that they do on All In.
I don't know about that. That's All Out's their big show.
What's the Tuesday in Texas thing? I think they're going to do. I think they're going to do half.
At least there's a week apart, and you're going to have a show in between. That's the major difference. You're going to have a big show in between. So I think that's beneficial. Time will tell. But to me, that was the second biggest thing to come out of AEW this week. And the big news was the Elite re-sign. They're staying in AEW.
Best decision they could have made, not because of the WB at all, but because it was best for them and their families.
Maybe.
Okay.
Don't you love it when I go, I'm going to push back a little bit?
Yeah. I'm repeating what you told me. So butthole.
No, I do agree with this piece. The downfall was them saying they were going to do everything as a group. As a friend, totally respect it and understand it. I totally get it. There's 4 members in this group. So they're like, hey, we're taking a vote. All right, what do y'all do if it's 2 against 2? Who's the tiebreaker? So you can't tell me, like, no matter what we're going to do, we're going to agree as a group. Okay, all right, whatever.
That much money, ain't nobody going to be happy.
To me, there were 3 winners and 1 loser in this deal.
Yeah.
Because everybody's situation's different. I could say something here in my brain. I've got it right here. It's right here, about to come out. I'm not going to say it because it's borderline political. sometimes the best decision doesn't affect everybody in the group the same.
No.
And here's my thing. By the way, I think I put this out on. No, it was in a group text. Sorry, I thought I posted on social media. I did. It was a group text. The Young Bucks' decision to stay in a company where they're going to make a lot of money, less dates, and have more time with their family. Kudos to them. I totally respect that and tip my cap to them. Yeah, tip the cap to them. Kenny, if that's his reason, I didn't think he had kids. I didn't think he married. So,
well, I think Kenny's lucky enough to, if you work for AWW, sorry, you can go work in Japan and do that kind of Japanese stuff. If you work for WWE, you can't do that. I think he probably can go over to Japan and draw huge money and get huge paychecks doing stuff over there you can't get in the WWE.
So here's what I wanted to do a hot take on it on. And I know I haven't addressed Paige, and I'm going to. The only thing I have is if we looked up their ages, and it was Kenny was like 40, right?
Somewhere, yeah.
And the Bucks were like 38 or something like that.
So they were older.
Yeah. Hangman was like early mid 30s, right? He was like 35 or 34 or something like. It was early. And I know wrestlers wrestle longer now, and et cetera, and et cetera. Theoretically, this could be the last deal for the Bucks and Kenny.
Could be, definitely.
Because at this point, I don't know if it's a 3-year, 4-year, 5, whatever the deal. Let's say it was a 3-year deal. 41, 43, they could retire. Will they? Probably not. But you have to start thinking like this could be their last deal.
Even if they retire or it's their last deal, they can come back and do one-offs all the time and make plenty of money.
My question, though, for those three, if it was your last contract and you're going to ride it out and this is it, I don't necessarily 100% agree with what I'm about to say, but there is a perception out there, and someone inside the business had this conversation with me, and I said, will it hurt their legacy that they never have a WrestleMania moment? If they don't, by the way. This is a big if, I know. If they don't ever have a WrestleMania moment, are you really elite? This talent looked at me this weekend, and I won't say his name because I don't even know if he would want me to, but he said, everybody grew up wanting to wrestle for the WWE. By part of there was no AEW, and especially the generation that came along after WCW had gone out of business. And no offense, people didn't grow up going, I want to work for Impact. You know what I mean? Most people were like, I want to grow up, I want to be a WWE wrestler, and I want to wrestle at WrestleMania. Yeah. So that because of that perception, do people look at Kenny and the Bucks and say, they're great, but they never wrestled at the biggest, at the top level. Sorry, I agree with Hunter when I say, as of now, by every metric, for the most part, AEW is a secondary level promotion. I'm not saying I don't love it, but that's just what that's what the thing.
Well, I mean, but it's also 5 years old now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There's no shame in that. There's no shame in that.
No. 100%.
I'm sure at 5 years, WWF was a secondary promotion to a lot of different people.
Sure.
So it is what it is.
tappedoutpod@gmail.com. Do you agree or disagree with that statement? I'm asking what his people's thoughts are. Now, I'll come back to the man, Hangman Adam Page. I think it hurts him more than the other two or three. I always lump the Bucks into this one. So anyway, I think he has minimum 2 more contracts. I think he would have benefited more by moving over. That's just me personally. I think he's a great fit in WWE, and I think it would have gotten him that deal plus another deal down the road. So I think that's why I think he's hurt more. But he just had a baby a while back, so maybe same reasoning. Maybe he just wanting to stay. And look, again, I'm going to come back to what my initial comment was. If your decision was to be less on the road, take care of your body better, you might last longer in this career, and you wanted to be with your family more, man, I got nothing. I'm not going to knock anybody for that. I'm not going to knock anybody at all.
Well, I really think that also they've probably convinced, and since they're executive vice presidents and whatever you want to call them, they've probably convinced Tony they're worth a lot more than they are, and they probably got massive, massive, massive checks.
The Bucks said they got an NBA level contract, so
Okay,
that's 7 figures plus.
so why even think about leaving? Why? The WWE is not going to give them that contract.
Actually, they were said it was closer than you'd think. They actually were. Their statement was it came down to dates and time with the family. That's what it came down to. It wasn't about the money.
Okay, so you got 7 figures, and you get to spend time with your family. Not only can you just like make a legacy of financial security on that kind of money, you can spend time with them. So you got a legacy of quality parenting on top of it. You can't do more than that.
Listen, if there's one thing we've learned, wrestlers have mentalities of an artist sometimes. And went back to my question. It's a question, not a statement. Does it hurt them if they never have a WrestleMania moment? Which is, what everybody talks about. Even guys like Mick Foley, Austin, Rock, they've all talked about their WrestleMania moments. If you don't have one of those, I'm not saying that doesn't make you great. But does that hinder your legacy if you don't have one? Just a question and just a thought. So, anyway. Let's dive into the indie stuff because we had a ton of stuff.
Woo!
But before we do, listen, you got don't spoil it yet. The Pro Wrestling Tees segment of the week. The man is a myth,
Yes.
and he's a legend.
Yes. And some say a menace.
He is a menace to society sometimes. I will agree with that statement. But however,
one of my closest friends, one of the most treasured people in the world.
Text, calls, messages, all weekend long. He's up at the gathering, and I said, Myron, there ain't nobody. How have we missed this yet? How have we not featured the man, the myth, the legend himself? It's still real to me, Dave.
Damn it.
Dave Wills.
The original Crying Wrestling Fan. I have this shirt. Not only is it a high quality pro wrestling t-shirt, something in 5X you don't find a lot. I will never destroy this t-shirt. It's so high quality. And on top of that, it's got my friends, my personal friends logo. I couldn't be more satisfied with being able to support my friend and wear a quality garment. Folks.
That's right.
And Dave is, like I said, you couldn't ask for a nicer guy. You could not ask for a nicer guy. I have learned more about, well, I don't know what the hell I've learned more about, but I've learned more hanging out with Dave.
He's a wealth of knowledge, especially of old school wrestling. And listen, it's a site. So check out ProWrestlingTees.com. Go to Dave Wills, the original Crying Wrestling Fan. Pick up a shirt or two. I believe he has 3 in his shop now.
Yes.
So pick them all up, man, for that. And, check out one of ours while you're there as well. But look, we now got to dive right into the weekend that we had. I know Dave was up at the gathering all weekend, just having a blast. But we were here Friday night and Saturday night, Southern Honor, Southern Fried, Canton, Monroe, the Rumble Jack. I would argue would you say it's their second biggest show?
It's their SummerSlam. It's their SummerSlam.
Because if still here, their anniversary show.
Or their Rumble.
That's, or the Rumble Jack. One of the two are their, that's their one and their two. It's a tough call between which one's my favorite one.
Rumble Jack for me.
Yeah.
I'm a Battle Royal guy. I love the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
I got 2 Battle Royals this weekend. That's...
The
Rumble Jack is nuts, man.
Yeah. 35/6 explanation there in a minute.
Yeah.
Competitors. And listen, they didn't hold back.
No.
There were names that I was like, oh my goodness, I cannot
There's actual surprises, legitimate surprises. I was amazed by some of the talent that got to come in. People of all different levels of experience, people from all different wrestling promotions, people from AEW, people from Impact, QT Marshall himself, the God's gift. I would have liked to stop and talk to you for a second, QT, if you hadn't just ran out the back door.
He had a tantrum. He lost. But yeah, man, between QT, Alan Angels, Carly Bravo, I'm drawing a blank because I was
Lee Johnson.
Lee Johnson, of course, David Ali. Look, spoiler alert, he won, which was kind of wild when you think about it. Like, it's like, oh shit,
he lives in Chicago.
Look, he's putting in the mileage, man. He's hitting the roads, man, and we'll have more about David in a minute. But they just look, Luther. Like you said, you brought up QT Marshall. Lots of AEW, influence there. Luther lighting Nathan on fire. Nathan Mowry with the flaming elbow onto Sunny Days. Crazy spot in that match. It's all, look, check it out, man. There's lots of videos and stuff online over at the, I'm sure they tag Southern Honor in it.
Mm-hmm.
Read a report and, talked to, Larry last night, and we kind of all agree. Quite possibly could be one of the, if not one of the best booked Rumble matches we've ever seen.
Yes. The way it was put together, you got people that went to wrestling schools together. People had storylines together. People had past history together. People had rivalries. And just stuff was woven in together. And timing. Because they didn't have like a set time period. They just had random time periods, which I loved. So the ring would get full and they'd slow it down. And then when the ring would get empty, they'd start speeding it back up. It was just cool. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really wish that more people could have seen that, because I think everybody would have. I mean, it was, Sal helped Dylan put it together. I'm breaking kayfabe. I've always said Sal Renaro is a national treasure. I will thoroughly stand by that.
Yeah. I mean, he's super talented. I mean, look, between the influences there and the mind power that they've got in that back, amazing.
Yeah.
But it was like every match on the card delivered. Chip, putting his legacy, the Jake the Snake Legacy Championship on. Former partner Kyle Matthews returns. They put on a great match.
Good God, that was so good.
All-Star Special and the Hierarchy.
Yes.
Those pesky ass Exotic Youth ruin the opportunity to find out who the best team is out of those two.
Yep.
They get involved. Little do we know it'd be the last time they would get under our skin for the night. That's kind of what they do really well.
Yes.
They're like a Bad Rash.
They might be the best heel tag team.
Yeah.
In the Southeast.
Could be. It's a good case.
Now, I know there's other heel tag teams that do things differently, but their particular genre is phenomenal.
They're your favorite tag team as a heel right now at this moment. That's what you're going with. That's what I always tell people.
Yes.
Yes. If you're asking you right now, that's your
because the
favorite
grapplers turn face. That's the thing. I can't say it's the grapplers because they turn face. And JBE is they're not really working tag team right now. Because Hunter's all separate. And tell me about the big WWE, the big championship match, 3-way dance. How insane was that?
Listen, if Gunner and Corey got on the same page and neutralized Judas, I think that was probably the best strategy. Look, there's lots of moving parts. We all are fully aware, that up in Southern Honor, they call themselves the end game, but Sexton and Judas and Halen, look, they weren't going to let this thing go down where it was fair and even. And we knew that, like, Judas is. Here's the thing: it's damn near impossible to beat Judas straight up.
Yes.
And then
we'll
he has
find
an
out. I do. Policy.
And then once he adds all these other things in, it's pretty much damn near impossible. So David Ali winning and now earning a spot at Still Here, their anniversary show at Southern Honor. They're going to put a little 6-man together in between Gunner, Corey, and David versus Todd, Nick, and Judas. So that'll be next month with the big title match coming soon. And so much so, I will tell you the things that as a wrestling fan make make me feel good is when they call back to things like David Ali pointing out, essentially Judas hasn't been beaten at Southern Honor, like pinned 1, 2, 3 to the mat by anybody but him.
Yep.
Like, he's the guy. He knows how to beat him. He's beat him once. He's going to beat him again. Because when David Ali had that long Southern Honor title run, it started there. And that's kind of the cool stuff. Like, I love when they call back to those type of things and like bring the story full circle and stuff. And, I know a lot of people are saying potential show of the year, best show of the year. You won't get an argument from me at all. Everything like that is creatively, is subjective, as they always say, but you're not going to get an argument from me on it either.
Oh, no. Who do you think actually got to show off more in that Battle Royal?
We talked about this a little bit, and it's kind of funny. It's the highlights, I think, who stole, or like if you say who won the pay-per-view, it's kind of two people. I'll let you give the other one. But Hunter James, we made the joke of there ain't a bump he's seen that he didn't like to take.
Yeah.
And I think he was in there a long time. And then, we were back and forth. And then our second choice was obviously Bryce Cannon.
Yes.
He was in there forever. He was in there for over 30 minutes, I believe, in that match. And I think he did a brilliant job as well, by the way.
Came all the way to the end of the match, yes.
Yep.
Definitely. Very solid match. Battle Royal, great. Hunter did a lot of the lay in the corner bit, which I love.
No, that was Bryce.
No, Hunter did it too. It too. Bryce did it also.
By the way, that's not an insult.
No, that bit is Ric Flair. To me, that's the best possible tactic in a Battle Royal because it's the smartest, and it was done by the greatest wrestler of all time.
Mm-hmm.
You went around and you saw Hunter getting flipped over the ropes, Hunter getting pulled out of the ropes, Hunter getting thrown out, Hunter flipping back in. All the match, all these false finishes, entertaining. You got to see the grapplers working in their old school style in the ring. You got your giants in the match. You got a little bit of everything you possibly imagine. It worked out great. You had managers on the outside. Tristan was outside. Simon Sermon kills me. I've never got to see him live before. I can now, it's like a bucket list thing. That Lev guy, what the hell is going on with him? He's using that gimmick at multiple shows, and I don't have any idea at all what the hell that's about.
We're going to get into something about Hunter James a little bit later, right? Who has now kind of elevated out of a spot that I had him in. Alexander Lev may be the new most punchable face in wrestling, in indie wrestling for us. Like, he's trying to save everybody. At half the time, I'm like, dude, you need to save your ass because you came out there and you said, oh, da-da-da, and then Cruel gets his hands on you. Like, not a good move.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Look, kid's got a future. I think he's got a future. But again, we had Hunter in a place of like, when it all clicks, he's going to be somebody. But that punchable face guy, the guy that gets under your skin constantly, might be this kid. Yeah. More to come. We'll find out. We'll see. Now let's jump over to Southern Fried. Monroe the next night.
Yeah, you should have had one of those barbecue sandwiches, man. Seems delicious. If David and Tracy are just going to cook barbecue every time, folks, it's worth it just to go down there and just have a damn barbecue sandwich. It might be one of the better barbecue restaurants there is.
It was pretty good when Ted put over the barbecue sandwich, saying he was like, it's better than I thought it was going to be. That's for sure.
Well, Ted owned the barbecue restaurant forever, and he was
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so I give you my vote of confidence. I've probably eaten more pork than anybody I know. So I got to give those guys some mad credit for that. Tracy, you killed it on that one. So
you might want to keep going for a second.
Okay, Nick's breaking up. So we get in there, and everybody's like, "It's hot, it's so hot in here." So I was okay.
It was hot in there,
but the action was hotter.
That's what I was saying. The action was hotter.
The thing is that place, those people knew that building was going to be hot, and they drove like almost 400 people. It was, I mean,
it was great.
It was great. People don't care. Well, people were those fans love that product. It's so great to see those loyal fans. And what I can, that they have lights on in there, so I can actually look at the fan base. And I'm starting to see new faces that are coming back.
Yeah.
And they are building an audience there. And it's so great to see. And they're starting to get bigger crowds again. Man, the wrestling's damn awesome too. So
yeah. Speaking of which, let's start at the beginning.
Yes.
The undeniable return to challenge Todd and Sunny Days for the tag team titles at Southern Fried Championship Wrestling.
Yes.
It's as wrestling as wrestling gets.
Oh God. The tag rope gimmick Sunny Days did was hilarious.
Put it out there, and I tell people, Southern Fried has a lot of this, by the way. And what I mean by this is they entertained, fired the crowd up, and the crowd was as hot as can be when that match was over. And you sit there in your head and go, he didn't do, and there's air quotes around there, he didn't do a lot in the sense of like what you're, like they could have went out. Look, it wasn't no Logan Paul and Ricochet. Let's go with that. That's what I'm trying to get at. It wasn't Logan Paul and Ricochet.
Todd hit his spots. Dylan hit his spots. The Undeniable hit his spots. Matt Hankins did his little heel gimmick. Kelly came in, interfered, hit him in the nuts. Da-da-da-da. All their little points were hit. Drove people crazy. Matt Hankins pissed off everybody in it. I don't understand. You would expect people in that building, in that heat, would be like, oh, I don't feel like doing anything. I'm just going to sit here. I'm inactive. But they were jumping up and down and yelling and screaming.
Todd and Dylan, Jesus Christ, Nick, Freudian slip. I can't. Todd and Sonny are on such a run.
Yes.
I know Todd's retired. He's just doing this until they lose, right? What if they have like a year run?
How about that?
Nobody's thought about that. Nobody's even addressed the fact that like there's the technician Todd Sexton, and then there's just crazy Sunny Days.
Brawler, yeah.
The brawler that's that gets in there's like, what if they just went on like a year run and poor old Todd's like, dude, I'm supposed to be retired and I'm because he's not like he's going to go in there and lose on because he wants to retire. I mean, just saying.
I mean, it wouldn't hurt my feelings. It'd probably hurt Todd's back, but it wouldn't hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
I enjoy the hell out of watching Todd and
Agreed.
Dylan. And when you consider the brain power there as far as wrestling, and then Hankins too on that, Jesus Christ, it's just insane.
I will say, if Sal returns, do we get Sal back just as his partner? That's not saying, that's just for Todd's sanity, not for does he?
Well, there's a storyline right there. Does Todd give away a spot?
Yeah, not just a spot, his spot.
Yeah,
that's a good question. Look, we had we got to get going. We're already well over our hour.
No,
so
we're having too much fun.
Look, Ultimate Battleground, 20 people. Crazy.
No. Let's not forget all of the approved stuff. Jesus Christ, they set that up. Insane. Okay.
There's trouble. Nick Halen may have control. Nick Halen may think he's in control of his house, but there's some trouble in his house. Let's go with that.
Yeah. Ultimate Battleground, though, Jesus Christ, that was so awesome. That was. Yeah. I know I keep saying awesome, but how can you beat it? You get a barbecue sandwich, you watch a battle royal, you hang out with 300 of your closest friends, 300 or 400 of your closest friends. What's not to love, Nick?
Great storytelling. That's another one. It's look, we always tell people the beauty of Southern Fried is the storytelling.
Yes.
Give your credit to whoever that is. It's there, right? They know who they are. They know that it's appreciated. But like, man, I'm just telling you, everybody involved. The battleground itself, the match was really, really good. Boils down to the end, like David Ali's back. He's at Southern Fried the next night. We're like, what the hell? Dude's been gone forever, and in back-to-back nights we get to see him, which is awesome. I don't know that anybody loves that kid. Yeah, there's somebody. I was going to say, I love that dude.
How many autographs did he sign? How many people did he see and hug? I hugged his sweaty ass 2 nights in a row. Okay?
Yeah. That is true, actually.
Yeah.
I was like, I wanted to take my my tapped out shirt, get him to autograph it, and go like, hey, I'm going to auction this off. It's got David Ali's sweat all over it, and see if how much we could get for it.
You just got your cousin do the same thing.
Exactly. We do all the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Long story. Listen, I'm glad he's back. Clearly, he will be back again.
Yeah.
Seeing as how he won, he'll be back next month at Southern Honor, so we'll see him there. But let's jump to the end. Great thing. Look, we thought he was going to win the next night, but it turns out CT Keys, the returning CT Keys, by the way, because he's been gone for a minute, is back, wins the Ultimate Battleground, and then he's going to challenge whomever was the champion.
I hope this means Jagged's coming back.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I agree. But then we got the main event. We get the actual title match as the main event, which I thought was a little bit unique that they did it that way, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I loved it because it meant the winner of the Battle Royal, who gets a title shot on the next show, came out and got to act like he was going to interfere in the main event. Yeah, it was just good. It was a good angle.
He was involved.
Yes.
So look, and I say that because anytime you get a stipulation like, if Judas is disqualified, he will lose his title. You're kind of like, I got a bad feeling he's getting disqualified and he's going to lose his title. Now, I honestly, like, when this match was announced, I was like, hey, Hunter's going to get his shot. We'll see what happens. And then we went to this match where he got the special stipulation. I think this is the kids that, we always like, oh, he's a little prick, most punchable face in wrestling, da-da-da. All these things are true, by the way. However, the kid's super talented, and we've never once said that that's not the case. I mean, he is super talented. He's a little bit of perfect. He's a little bit HBK. He's a little bit AJ. He's like all these little pieces of all these different, and like when you add them all up, you get him. This is his, look, I get it, folks. Don't overreact to what I'm about to say. This is like his first, Southern Fried, Southern Honor, like the secondary title in a promotion. Top guy, big time promotion. Like this is his coming out party in my opinion. It's only my opinion. I think if Hunter James has a 6-month run or something like that with his title, am I wrong by asking? I don't think people will ever go back and pull nitpicking and say, well, he only won it because he was in a match where, Judas got DQ'd.
Doesn't matter.
He's going to have a 6-month, 7. Exactly. It doesn't matter how you happen.
People will be so damn angry at him because him and Tristan are going to get in there and they're going to cut promos and they're going to take those cocky ass pictures and they're going to have that green Envy matching gear. Okay. And they're going to look the best and they're going to piss people off and they're going to look like greasy little heels.
Because why do you have Myron? Do you have a feeling that there's a promo coming, whether it's on Facebook or whether it's at an arena, whether it's wherever it's going to be? We told you he was going to be the Southern Fried champion.
Youngest champion in history. Yes. And it's going to go. I have. Can you say he won the weekend?
That's a damn good case to be made. Even though he did not win, I think if you're talking about from what we experienced, the shows we went to, you could argue David Ali because he won the Rumble Jack and he was one of the last two in the Ultimate Battleground. You could make that case.
Well, I mean, we were standing there talking to Neil Pruitt and telling him who Hunter James was. Okay, Hunter James was making an impression on everybody at Southern Honor.
Yeah.
Okay, he worked with veterans. I mean, that spinebuster David Young gave him looked like $1 million. I think he has the potential to get over there. He works there. He works Southern Fried. He works Anarchy. He's gonna become one of the biggest names in Georgia. I don't see anywhere to go but up from there.
I think, yeah, Kid's a star. Look at, like I said, and it's he he's like a bad rash that keeps coming back on one hand, but he's got mega talent, and you can't you can't hide that fact.
Mm-hmm.
So on one hand, kudos, they did what. Look, you can't take away from the fact it doesn't matter how they got here. They basically said,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like, this is what we're gonna do, and they did it.
Yes. Yep. It was a great show. It was a great show. David Manders is such a wonderful host. He makes everybody feel like they're a friend, makes everybody feel so welcome, goes around and shakes hands and talks to everybody. You can't get a better experience than that.
Oh, I agree, 100%.
Yep.
So check them out. Look, they're coming up in a couple weeks back in Monroe. We'll be talking about it. So keep, make sure you're doing that. So anyway,
I defy anybody to say they've got better wrestling in their state than Georgia. We've got the best wrestlers. We've got the best promoters, the best managers, the best bookers, the best sound guys. I don't think there's anyone does it any better. And production is getting out of hand. Probably the best podcasters too, but I'm just saying. I think it's wonderful. It's probably the best I've ever seen.
I agree with you, man. 110%, 110%. But look, before we get out of here, we're always got to remind you before we leave. Make sure you're checking us out over on our YouTube channel. If you're watching on video, if you're listening on audio, then make sure you're checking us out on YouTube and watching us. If you are on YouTube and you haven't yet, make sure you like the page, you subscribe to the page, turn your notifications on, because there's some news coming up I'm going to drop right after this. I should have dropped it at the beginning of the show, but I did wait till the end. Because look, you get the show early, often when it comes, all that good stuff. On the audio, of course, same exact thing, man. Look, we don't care whether you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, Google Pod. Does not matter.
Nope.
Make sure you're subscribing so every week when the episode comes out, boom, you're notified. You get your notifications, whatever, or it goes straight to however you listen. All that good stuff. Because there's a test. I'll put this on social media as well, Myron.
Ooh.
Myron and I had a conversation in the car. Was it to or from? I can't remember. Probably
it's conversation all the time, nonstop.
Yeah. So
planning, scheming, booking, evil things.
With
good things.
The SummerSlam weekend kind of was like the kick in the nuts that we needed to have this conversation, where it fell on a weekend where we had Southern Honor on Friday, SummerSlam and Southern Fried were on Saturday, and here we are recording on a Sunday. It basically is exhausting. Yeah, I mean, SmackDown's on Friday. So SmackDown's on Friday, and we had Southern Honor. So then I get home at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Then in the next day, it's not like you don't have a life and you don't have anything else to do. But then you still got to try to get all your stuff done on Saturday, plus get to the show and catch up on SummerSlam. Oh, and by the way, you got to get SummerSlam watched so you can record. So the conversation became, look, we moved it for a multitude of reasons. And so now our thought was like, we need to go back to a day for the show that makes it a little more conducive to catching everything and listening and watching everything. And we're going to leave it up to you guys, but I think my partake is Wednesday, Thursday, something like that, middle of the week. So then that way we catch all of the above. Look, every day has wrestling. There's something that's always going to be
something in the middle of the week for people.
Instead of releasing on Monday, I'm thinking Thursday is my go-to, which means we would have to record on a Wednesday. So that way our YouTube subscribers, the people behind the paywall, Patreon members, they get the show early on the day we record, and then everybody else gets it the next day. Problem with that, of course, is what, Myron? Well, that means you're going to record before Dynamite, and then listen, we're going to be blunt. At this point, everybody's acting like Collision's the go-to show anyway.
Yeah.
And not that. I don't know. I'm teasing. I'm kidding.
Oh, we forgot all about that too. Shit.
It's always something. So what would you guys, if we moved it, what day would you think? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. I may put up a poll on Twitter.
Are you going to give them a poll?
Yeah, I think I'll put it up on Twitter probably. Maybe Facebook. I'll see what wins. I lean more Thursday. We record on Wednesday, middle of the week, and go with that route. But that's just me. We'll let them decide, I guess. Figure it out.
That would make employed wives a lot happier. We could do it.
That is 100% accurate. Correct.
And we could spend Sundays with them.
Yeah, exactly. Tappedoutpod@gmail.com. If you don't,
I look forward to that.
Yeah, lots of stuff that you can't miss on a Sunday, man, like laundry and grocery shopping and blah 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 blah. I promise you, they're not listening an hour and 15 minutes into this show.
They don't listen to this shit. We've done 8 years of this. Exactly. They never listened to mine. Never listened to the first one. She loves me.
Yeah. Not enough to listen to.
She doesn't listen to this.
Yeah. So, well, man, great weekend. Look, more and more stuff coming in, especially behind the paywall. Make sure you're checking out all the articles and the WrestleTunes. I appreciate all the feedback it got on social media. Talk to some people. More of that coming. That's why you want to be behind the paywall. That stuff's going to go behind the paywall, a lot of it, and then I will slowly release, additions out to the public as well. But that's a YouTube exclusive. That will not be on the audio feed. For obvious reasons. You can't really carpool karaoke like a song without video. So anyway, all that being said, you got anything else, man, before we get out of here? That's all I've got for this week.
I am exhausted. I don't think I'll take a nap, but it's going to be hard not to. I think I'll find a pizza and lay on the couch. Or this chair. This chair is awful comfortable because it's from
Fantasy Lab. Yeah. I got laundry to do. I got, meal prep and all that stuff to do for the week. So
I bought new underpants. I was just too lazy to wash.
Yeah, you just, instead of washing them, you're just going to buy new ones.
Yeah, I got like a package of Amazon drawers. I haven't opened them yet. It's the best thing in the world.
Amazon's the best, man. Yep. I'll agree with you. Well, anything else, man?
I am out of everything.
Well, what's the old saying, brother? If I've got nothing and you've got nothing, what time is it?
It's time to tap out.